How do we go out now and replace 700 jobs that Congressman Boyd and the Democratic Party eliminated? We're going to also look at having the courage to freeze spending. I believe we've got to put a freeze on hiring through attrition, through retirement and people leaving government. Then we will be able to get control on this rapid spending. I believe that the creating of the jobs, though, that's got to be done by creating certainty and eliminating uncertainty. And I will take my practical business experience of my life and that of my family to do that very thing.
Okay, question number 2, and this one's to you, Ron, first. If elected, you will be required to take the oath of office in which you swear or affirm to defend the United States Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. What version of the Constitution do you believe this oath refers to? And who is included in the term all enemies, foreign and domestic?
Well, I believe if you're an American citizen, you're an American citizen in every way. You think American. My family comes off a couple islands off the coast of Scotland, Neil Island. I'm an American citizen. I'm an American. I'm not a Scottish American. And I don't think we should have African Americans, Scottish Americans, Mexican Americans, Chinese Americans, or anything else. If you want to come here and adopt our country, you adopt it wholeheartedly. You adopt our English language as your way to speak. If they can't do that, they don't need to be here. And but we've got a nation that needs protecting. And I will defend this Constitution, Bill of Rights, and I will try my best to get our federal government back down within the scope of this less than 50 pages. It's unbelievable what we've allowed to happen. We've allowed our country to be full of people that make their killing off how complicated things become and how embroiled they become. And once people get their head in the federal trough, that's where they stay. And they make twice as much, it costs twice as much to have a federal employee as it costs me to have a free enterprise employee. And the free enterprise employee works hard or loses his job or her job. The federal employee, if you don't do very well, you're not very efficient, they shove you on up to management so you won't have to physically do anything. I mean, this is crazy. We have, matter of fact, my book is titled, by the way, Have We Lost Our Minds? I wish you could read it. I think they have, and we're going to find out if we have this November, if we don't throw that punch out. You want to invest in something? Invest in moving companies in Washington, this part.
Hello. It was a 3-part question. It was domestic and foreign, and what version? Yes. And
what version of the Constitution do you believe that the oath to defend the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic, refers to, and what do you and who is included in the term all enemies, foreign and domestic?
As I think I told y'all, I'm a lawyer. I have a doctorate of jurisprudence from Cumberland Law School. I actually have the Constitution I was given 30 years ago now, because of 3 years of law school. And I have studied this Constitution and used it as I have defended people in the courtrooms around this country. The Constitution is, people like to talk about it, the originalness of the Constitution. But we need to remember that that is not always the best interpretation. Because when the Constitution was written, every woman in this room did not have the right to vote. People of color did not have the right to vote. So when people talk about how perfect it is, the wonderful thing that the framers did in the document was to create an avenue through constitutional amendments, which goes through both the House and Senate and has to pass through 2/3 of the state legislatures for the Constitution to be changed. Because they knew that as a country changed and evolved and people changed, that we would have to change. Well, women are 50% of the population and less than 20% of the representation in Congress, but I'm certain that we're all glad that we have the right to vote, and we don't want to go back to original intent that takes that away. So I believe that as the Constitution says, that it is the supreme law of the land. I believe all foreign and domestic entities are those entities that seek to undermine and threaten the rights, privileges, and freedoms that are afforded to us under the Constitution.
Second question. Second part.
To who is included in the term all enemies, foreign and domestic?
As far as the, as Barbara so noted, our Constitution, obviously today that we recognize, is not the exact Constitution that that our framers came out of Independence Hall with in Philadelphia in 1787. We have amendments. There was a lot of things done that day that we needed to improve upon, which we have, giving all people the right to vote, making sure that all people had access to freedom and the liberties that I believe with all my heart they are given the moment that we as people are created. And so therefore, our Constitution today is the rule of law. And we are a nation of laws. What bothers me greatly is that we have a country right now and an administration who chooses time and time and time again to ignore the rule of law when it's convenient. And so therefore, we've got to honor the Constitution as it is law today, because we are a law, a nation of laws. If we want to change it, we have to change it through the amendment process. And I'm glad that one or two men can't do that it requires the voice of the people. As far as all enemies, foreign and domestic, we obviously know there are foreign entities out there that mean us harm. I believe foreign, taking care of us and protecting that Constitution, is protecting the security of the American people. Our military must be the strongest, the most powerful in this world, and when we bring it, we bring it. We say what we mean, and we mean what we say. And here on domestic threats, obviously I think our greatest threats are the politicians and the political process in Washington, D.C. right now. And I promise you, I will fight to honor that Constitution in Washington, D.C. to rid our capital of people that want to take away the freedoms of the American people.
That's a very, very good question. As a young second lieutenant, I took the exact same oath you take as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I look forward to taking that oath again. Enemies, foreign and domestic, are anybody or any entity that threatens our way of life. Our life, our liberty, our pursuit of happiness. Anything that threatens that is our enemy. You can break that down to foreign entities like terror. You can bring it home with having enemies like our people that are currently in Congress that are usurping the Constitution. As far as the Constitution goes, it is the law of the land. I am an originalist. I do believe in the amendment process. But if our Constitution, our founding fathers spent so much time and so much pain and so much energy to develop, was to be changed, the premise of it was to be changed, it would have been written in pencil so you could erase it. Thank you.
Okay, question number 3. So it's for you first, Barbara. Do you support the fair tax? Why or why not?
There's a problem with me with the fair tax, and I'm a lawyer. The problem with it's not, the bill itself is fine. The problem is that for 26 years, what people have hired me to do is to look at something and find out what the problem is and how something can go wrong. So I can't not do that when I look at the fair tax. The fair tax has a lot of good things about it, and quite frankly, how can you not like something called fair? But it really should be called the sales consumption tax. The problem is that until and unless the 16th Amendment is repealed, which is the amendment that gives Congress the right to tax our income, there is a possibility during the 7-year sunset period of the Fair Tax Act that a runaway Congress could go back in and we could be taxed under both the sales tax and income tax. Now the fair tax says we won't be double taxed, but that's in the bill. And the bill does not override a constitutional amendment. It takes years for a constitutional amendment to be overridden. And what needs to happen for people who really are interested in the fair tax is that the constitutional amendment needs to be overturned first. The problem is not so much the bill. The problem is really to protect America from a runaway Congress. If we get another runaway Congress, they can do away with the requirement to even repeal the 16th Amendment. They can amend the bill. That's not good for the American people, and we need to be careful about that. Thank you.
The question is, do I support the fair tax? Why or why not? As far as its entirety in its current state, I do not. There are pros to the fair tax that I do like.